सर आवाज नहीं आ रही है सर। Sir, are you speaking something, sir? You are not audible.
Well,
Yeah, now, sir.
it was audible or not? Previously, it was
Is
not
now, sir.
audible.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay.
It is not coming now, too.
Okay. Uh, Sorry for interruption. So we have completed. I hope I am audible. We have
Yes, sir.
completed up to number 256, and we from here that aphorism number 252 to 256 are the signs of improvement. Okay, from here we went to Kent's 12 observation and second prescription. Okay, then we completed that. Those are the signs of improvement, and we have told that we are having these tools to assess our prescription. Okay, now from 257 and 258, it is two aphorisms. It is a paired aphorism of favorite and unfavorite remedy. Okay, these are the short questions in your examination, and aphorism number, they will ask aphorism number for favorite and unfavorite remedy in your PG examination, PG entrance test. Okay, so remember that favorite comes first. That is why 257 is favorite and 258 is unfavorite remedies. Every practitioner developed some kind of taste for after their clinical experience. They developed some of their favorite or unfavorite remedy that you will see that many writers are not giving much importance to medicines like medorinum, that they found in their clinic that medorinum is not very much helpful. But many authors are giving much importance to medorinum, like they found, like Barnett, he is telling that 50% of sciatica, left-sided sciatica in his clinic is being cured with medorinum. So this is the case. Author developed a certain kind of favoritism for some medicine and unfavoritism for some medicine. Okay, why this happens? Actually, it depends upon the area of their practice. Okay, where their geographical distribution of the patients are, like where they are practicing, they are finding more pulsatilla than nux vomica, and maybe at some places where they are practicing, they are finding more nux vomica than pulsatilla. This happens to Hahnemann also, that once in his initial practice, he was mostly prescribing medicines like some medicines. What Dr. Peter Morrell once in our personal discussion have told, that Hahnemann too have developed, maybe by examining his case record, it was found that Hahnemann too have developed some favoritism for certain remedies. Like in later days in Paris, he was more prescribing sulfur. At the end, this may be a kind of favoritism. But what Peter Morrell have told, that in initial days he was practicing in Leipzig, and there a sort of people in the town, a sort of more people of that remedy were found. And while practicing in Cothen, a small town than Leipzig, a much smaller town than Leipzig, there he find some more other type of remedies. Okay, and later on when he started practicing in Paris, this is a much bigger town, much fashionable town, and there were use of sulfur ointment at random, because people don't want any external eruption on their face, on their hand, or the parts of the body which are observable to others, because it is so unfashionable. So there was suppression, lots of suppression in the people of Paris, especially of the skin eruptions. So he was finding more sulfur in his practice. That is why we will see in the case record some sort of favoritism towards sulfur. Okay, so you will find in these days, what I am finding in my practice, I have developed a certain favoritism for Thuja and Ignitia. Okay, and when I found why I am prescribing this Thuja and Ignitia a lot, I found that the vaccination is one of the reason that people are random vaccination. People are taking vaccination for COVID, that is a different thing. Plus people are taking vaccination for hepatitis, people are taking for vaccination for influenza. Children have been vaccinated for chicken pox or typhoid or like that. Many unnecessary vaccinations have been given. Okay, so this was the reason behind more prescription of Thuja, because you are getting a complex psychotic nowadays, a complex psychosis nowadays. Okay, so and why Ignitia? Because of the modern days life and modern days more people are more suffering from emotional upsets, grief. Okay, so the Ignitia and Thuja are a sort of, you can tell that these are the sort of favoritism in my clinic. But this is this you can call a pseudo favoritism, that the area which you are practice, the era in which you are practicing, and the area, the geographical area in which you are practicing decide a lot about your more often prescribed medicine. So this is a pseudo favoritism, not actual favoritism. What is actual favoritism? That the patient, the physician developed an attitude towards that. No, this medicine never works. Okay, one of a teacher used to say that this meadow never works in my hand. Okay, this is an actual unfavoritism, because there are lots of, they are practicing, he is practicing where the meadow patients are there, but he is not able to find any good result with this meadow. So this is actually, and he is not ready to test it at all. So this is actual unfavoritism. Okay, lots of people are having very unfavoritism for short remedies, the small acting remedies, তো এটা কাজ করে না, এই ছোট ছোট মেডিসিন গুলো কাজ করে না। I usually prescribe polycrest, and lots of practitioners are having a favoritism towards polycrest, and they don't use this small acting medicines. So this is all about favorite and unfavorite remedies, and this should not happen in your clinic. Pseudo favoritism or pseudo unfavoritism may happen, but this should not. Actual favoritism or unfavoritism should not happen in your clinic. From 259 to 263 is dealing with the diet in acute disease and diet in chronic disease. Okay, so 259 is dealing with the, this is a introductory aphorism, diet and regimen. If you can see the content of this, you will see that 259 to 261 regime in chronic disease, 262 to 263 diet in acute disease. Okay, so diet and regime in chronic disease is actually being started from 260, not 259. 259 is the introduction. This is a group of aphorism from 259 to 263 dealing with the diet and regime. In this group, 259 is leading the introduction to diet and regime. After that, 2 aphorisms are dealing with the diet in chronic disease, and 2 aphorisms dealing with the diet in acute disease. We will read one by one. Please go ahead with 259.
Considering the minuteness of the doses necessary and proper homeopathic treatment.
Please a bit louder. Please read a bit louder.
Considering the minuteness of the doses necessary and proper, am I audible, sir? Sir, is it okay?
259. Considering the minuteness. Yes.
Considering the minuteness of the doses necessary and proper in homeopathic treatment, we can easily understand that during the treatment, everything must be removed from the diet and regimen which can have any medicinal action, in order that the small dose may not be overwhelmed and extinguished or disturbed by any foreign medicinal irritant.
Okay, so this is introduction. Nothing is, he is not talking about chronic or acute disease. Okay, this is the introduction to this group of aphorism. Where there is a group of aphorism, you usually found an aphorism which head start the rest of the group. Okay, so this is the introduction. Diet and regime, underline, of medicinal action, underline, and foreign medicinal irritant. Foreign medicinal irritant. Okay, like where we have discussed observation number 6 of Kent, that the medicine has acted to less a time. There Kent has said that this may be that patient have interfered something of medicinal nature in his diet and regime. Okay, he may have taken coffee, he may have taken some some stimulants like this. Okay, there may be a night watching, there may be a debauchery. So these are actually hampering the medicinal actions. Okay, so this should be removed from the diet and regime of the patient in order to make our medicine act properly. Okay, now this footnote, the footnote is a philosophical explanation of this phenomena, that a distant flute can be enjoyed in silence, not in the noise. So minute the homeopathic medicines are, there should be no hindrance with it in any sort of diet and regime which is hampering it. Okay, so this is the introduction why this diet and regime is important. This diet and regime you can take in 2 ways. Okay, while always patient will ask always, Dr. Sahab kya khana hai, क्या नहीं खाना है, क्या करना है, किस चीज से बचना है. These are the common questions you have given the medicines. Okay, the last question. What should be its answer? Okay, the answer should be comprised in two parts. Number one, what all substance he should avoid in order to avoid the hindrance with your medicine. Okay, I hope it is clear that one part, this two-part answer is, number one part is for the action of your medicine. Number one, medicine के लिए क्या क्या नहीं खाना है. Okay. Number two is for the disease. Like patient is suffering from diabetes, you should tell him that what all sort of things he should not take. All the hyperglycemia, all the high glycemic index food should be restricted. Okay, so for if patient is suffering from hypertension, the extra salt, papad, chutney, achar, all these sorts of this excess fat, excess of eggs, these especially the cholesterol containing yolk, these also, if the patient is suffering from gout, you should restrict the purine containing diet. If the patient is suffering from hyperlipidemia, you should restrict the fat intake. Okay, so if the second part will consist of for the disease, and the first part is considered for the medicines you have prescribed. Okay, now for the medicines we have prescribed, many homeopath will actually forbid many things the patient got irritated with. That खट्टा नहीं खाना है, इमली नहीं खाना है, लहसुन नहीं खाना है, प्याज नहीं खाना है, अदरक नहीं खाना है, कॉफी नहीं खाना है, this and that, lots of things homeopaths usually restrict not to take. Okay, actually you should not bother about all these diets, except in some cases the food which is having direct relation with the aggravation of the medicine. Like for thuja, you should forbid your patient to take raw onion. Not in every case. Only when you are prescribing thuja, when you are prescribing lycopodium, because lycopodium's headache is aggravated by raw onion, and lycopodium has a general state of aggravation from raw onion. Okay, if you see in French repertory, generalities, I think you will get the aggravations, all these aggravations, and the medicines which these are containing should be like for coffee, ignitia, nux vomica, cantharis, causticum, chamomilla. These are the first grade medicine. Whenever you are prescribing these medicines only, nux vomica especially, whenever you are prescribing nux vomica and ignitia, you should forbid your patient to take stimulants like coffee. You can ask your patient to take tea, but this coffee should be avoided at all cost. Like onion, see food generalities, food aggravation in Kent's repertory. Onion, lyco, nux vomica, pulsatilla, and thuja. These four medicines are there. These should be avoided. Like mutton, lysine and ova tosta. These, whenever you are prescribing lysine or ova tosta, you should ask your patient not to take mutton. And I have seen the chronic desires. Some physicians forbidding to take the chronic desires. Where it is coming from? It is coming from the aphorisms itself. We will see. The chronic desires of the patient, like calcaria patient, should forbid to take egg. Okay, the chronic desire should be restricted for the patient. Not everything possible, that every masala, every imli, khatta, this and that should not be forbidden. Okay, this is actually extra burden on the patient. You should use your rational brain to restrict the diet. So this restriction consists of two parts, one for your medicine and one for the disease patient is suffering from. Clear? Now,
Sir, I didn't understand this chronic desires.
Chronic desires, like we will discuss it when we will come To that, we will discuss again. 260.
Okay. Hence, the careful investigation into such obstacles to cure is so much the more necessary in the case of patients affected by
Again,
chronic
please read
diseases.
it again a bit loud, please, a bit louder and read it again.
Sorry, sir. Hence, the careful investigation into such obstacles to cure is so much the more necessary in the case of patients affected by chronic diseases, as their diseases are usually aggravated by such noxious influences and other disease causing errors in the diet and regimen, which often pass unnoticed.
This contains a long footnote. A long footnote. Here, this footnote is important uh, from the part of from the point of view of this your MD examinations, MD entrance examination. Okay, read it. Please read it.
Coffee, fine Chinese and other herb teas, beer prepared with medicinal vegetable substances unsuitable for patient's state, so-called fine liquors made with medicinal spices, all kinds of punch, spiced chocolate, odorous waters and perfumes of many kinds, strong scented flowers in the apartment, tooth powders and essences and perfumed sachets compounded of drugs, highly spiced dishes and sauces, spiced cakes and ices, crude medicinal vegetables for soups, dishes of herbs, roots, and stalks of plants possessing medicinal qualities, asparagus with long green tips, hops, and all vegetables possessing medicinal properties, celery, onions in the sixth edition, old cheese and meats that are in a state of decomposition or that possess medicinal properties, as the flesh and fat of pork, ducks and geese, or veal that is too young and sour viands out just as certainly to be kept from patients as they should avoid all excesses in food and in the use of sugar and salt, as also spirituous drinks undiluted with water in the sixth edition, heated rooms, woolen clothing next to the skin,
This
which should be
this was up to this was for diet, and now the regime, and now the regime. Up to this was diet, and now the regime. Same thing you will find while we were discussing provings. What should be the prover's diet and regime? Okay, there in 124, 125, 126, diet and regime for the poor, for the provers have been discussed. There in the footnote to 125, okay, there young green peas, green French beans, boiled potatoes, and in all cases carrots are allowable as least medicinal vegetables. Okay, so sometimes they ask question combining this footnote. Here they will give some diet from here, and this boiled potato and carrot from here, green peas and here some vegetables, spices they will give in the option. Okay, so you have to choose the correct one. So remember these, what Hahnemann have allowed here in the proving are also allowed in the chronic disease diet and regime. Okay, now next, up to this was diet, give a slash here, and next starts the regime.
heated rooms, woolen clothing next to the skin, which should be exchanged in warm weather, first for cotton, then for linen garments. A sedentary life in close apartments, or the frequent indulgence in mere passive exercise, such as riding, driving, or swinging, prolonged suckling, taking a long siesta in a recumbent posture in bed, sitting up long at night, uncleanliness, unnatural debauchery, innervation by reading obscene books, reading while lying down, onanism or imperfect or suppressed intercourse in order to prevent conception in the sixth edition. Subjects of anger, grief, or vexation, a passion for play, overexertion of mind or body, dwelling in marshy districts, damp rooms, penurious living, and etc. All these things must be as far as possible avoided or removed, in order that the cure may not be obstructed or rendered impossible. Some of my disciples seem needlessly to increase the difficulties of the patient's dietary by forbidding the use of many more tolerably indifferent things, which which is not to be commended.
Okay, this is the last sentence which is most useful here, and lots of things you are finding here can be taken easily by the patient nowadays. Okay, so lots of things like hard coffee, hard chocolate should be avoided in means it can be restricted to patients who are more aggravated by those. Okay, like I have told that onion should be restricted only in those patients. This is what I do in my clinic. Onion should be restricted only in those patients who are aggravated by onion. Like you are prescribing thuja, lyco, or naxvomica, you should avoid onions. Like this. Okay, not everything written here should be asked to avoid. Like nowhere there is mention of sour. Okay, and uselessly every homeopath will tell that khatta nahi khana. Okay, even the not homeopath, the patient who are taking medicine will avoid khatta by himself. I don't know why. Okay, this is not necessary at all and not going to hamper your medicine until and unless it is aggravated by khatta, aggravated by sour. Like ignitia patients are generally aggravated by sour, and if you are prescribing ignitia, ask your patient not to take sour for some days. If you are prescribing incentesimal potency, until and unless you are giving 4 doses, ask your patient to restrict the sour intake for at least 1 week. Okay, after that he can take, because both the aggravation, the medicinal aggravation, the homeopathic aggravation you are expecting, and the natural aggravation by that SAR will conjoin and the patient will be aggravated more. Okay, so only those things which are aggravating that medicinal state should be avoided. Now 261.
The most appropriate regimen during the employment of medicine in chronic diseases consists in the removal of such obstacles to recovery and in supplying where necessary the reverse. Innocent moral and intellectual recreation, active exercise in the open air in almost all kinds of weather, daily walks, light manual labor, suitable, nutritious, unmedicinal food and drink, and etc.
This is the diet and regime. This is the diet and regime in the chronic disease. This will be asked as a short note or a long question in your examination. 262 and 263.
In acute diseases, on the other
This is
hand,
diet and
except
regime in acute disease. Okay. So this group consists of 5 aphorisms. First aphorism was introduction. Next two aphorism was for the chronic disease, diet and regime for the chronic disease, and next two aphorisms are for diet and regime in acute disease. Now,
in acute diseases, on the other hand, except in cases of mental alienation, the subtle, unerring internal sense of the awakened life-preserving faculty determines so clearly and precisely that the physician only requires to counsel the friends and attendants to put no obstacles in the way of this voice of nature by refusing anything the patient urgently desires in the way of food, or by trying to persuade him to partake of anything injurious.
Okay, two things have been said here, that in acute diseases, the desire, here comes the acute desires and chronic desires. This is acute desire, like aconite patient will want to drink cold water. Okay, aconite patients will have a desire to drink cold water. Brainia of acute patient will have desire to drink cold water. Okay, chilled water they will desire, these patients. Okay, so these are the natural desires which are determined the vital force which is sick, and these natural desires are actually should not be hindered. These natural desires should not be hindered. Whatever patient is asking for, give it to him. Okay, whatever patient is not asking, that I don't want to see this, I don't want to drink this, still nahi हल्दी वाला दूध पी लो अच्छा है तुम्हारे लिए, और patient बोल रहा है नो हमको नहीं पीना है, and still you are forcing that नहीं ये अच्छा है तुम्हारे लिए. Okay, so that is what Hahnemann is telling, that persuade the patient's friend that whatever the patient is desiring, give it to him, and whatever patient is forbidding that I will not take, don't give it to him. Okay, don't force the patient to take of acute disease to take anything which he is not wanting. Okay, so two things will come to mind. Your mind that what if after taking cold drink the patient fell sick, more sicker. Okay, the patient is wanting cold drink and after you gave cold drink, बुखार हुआ है, सर्दी हुआ है, still the patient is wanting cold drink, wants cold drink. That is quite unnatural. The patient will fall more sick. Okay, this question naturally will come to mind. This has an answer in the second aphorism. Read the second aphorism.
The desire of the patient affected by an acute disease with regard to food and drink is certainly chiefly for things that give palliative relief.
Underline this. Certainly chief for things that give palliative relief. That is the inner desire the vital force is wanting.
They are, however, not strictly speaking of a medicinal character and merely supply a sort of want. The slight hindrances that the gratification of this desire within moderate bounds could oppose to the radical removal of the disease will be amply
underline this slight hindrance. बोला ना कि कोराइजा हुआ है, सर्दी हुआ है, still he is wanting cold drink and this may hinder this slight hindrance. This slight hindrance, what is happening here? Read the footnote to that.
This is, however, rare. Thus, for instance, in pure inflammatory diseases where aconite is so indispensable, whose action would be destroyed by partaking of vegetable acids, the desire of the patient is almost always for pure cold water only.
This is quite rare that patient want thing which is making him more sick. Okay, this is quite rare occurrence. Okay, now come back to footnote. Come back to
the slight hindrances that the gratification of desire within moderate bounds could oppose to the radical removal of the disease will be amply contracted and overcome by the power of the homeopathically suited medicine and the vital force set free by it, as also by the refreshment that follows from taking what has been so ardently longed for.
Okay, in like manner, underline this. Overcome, underline, and homeopathically suited medicine, underline, as also by, underline also, refreshment that follows from taking what has been so ardently longed for. Refreshment, underline this, so ardently longed for, by taking what has been so ardently longed for.
In like manner, in acute diseases, the temperature of the room and the heat or coolness of the bed coverings must also be arranged entirely in conformity with the patient's wish. He must be kept free from all overexertion of mind and exciting emotions.
Okay. So the diet and then regime, everything. Now the question comes of the chronic desires. These are the acute desires. Acute desires are giving the palliative relief, and the chronic desires are actually not giving the that relief, palliative relief. Rather, they should be avoided. They should be asked. The patient should be asked to avoid them. That usually making them more sick. Okay, the chronic desires usually making them more sick. ओके तो इसमें क्या नहीं समझ में आया था? What you didn't get?
What he likes, sir.
Okay, please speak a bit louder. It's not hearing.
Chronic desires is simply desires, which the patient desires, right?
Desires for
chronic
food.
Disease.
Chronic disease. Okay. They are simply desires, or actually has came into observation that they are the things which is making patient more sick and should be avoided. They should be avoided in chronic disease. Okay, I'm not getting the reference where it has been said that chronic desires of the patient should be avoided, like calcarea carp. They are longing for egg, and whenever you are prescribing calcarea carp, we are asking our patient not take a lot of egg, okay, to restrict the intake of egg. Unlike in chronic, unlike in acute diseases where we are fulfilling the desires of the patient, in chronic diseases we are restricting the desires of the patient. The desire for food the patient is wanting for, we are restricting that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Got it.
So we have completed up to here. We have completed diet and regime. Okay, in acute disease, in chronic disease. This may be a question in your examination, and these are important in viewpoint of our clinic. Okay, so whenever we are talking to our patient in diet and regime, we should ask our patient. We should tell our patient in two parts: the one which is for our medicine and the one which is for disease. Okay, that had been discussed. From 264 to 271 is the pharmacy part. Okay, 264 to 271 is the pharmacy part and not very useful for clinic, but from this many questions used to come in your PG entrance examination. We will read it after some time. Means after finishing other aphorisms, we will go through these also. And from 272 to 274, 272 to 274 is dealing with the law of simplex. What is law of simplex? Only one single medicine should be given. Okay, the law of simplex. Right here, 264 to 271 is the pharmacy part. Pharmacy. From 272 to 274 is law of simplex. Law of simplex. Okay. Now from 275 to 287, fifth edition. Okay, from here the fifth and sixth complexity starts. Okay, so write 275 to 287, fifth edition, dealing with the dose. It is dealing with the doses. First, law of simplex, why single medicine should be given. Now the dose, why minimum dose should be given. 275 to 287, fifth edition. I am not talking about sixth edition. Okay, to be very clear from here onward, 275 to 287, fifth edition is dealing with the doses. 287 and 288, from 288 to 291, no, 292, 288 to 292 is dealing with the fifth edition. Okay, I'm talking about fifth edition is dealing with the pharmaconomy. What is pharmaconomy? There are lots of terms you will be asked in your what is pharmaconomy?
Sorry, sir, I forgot.
Okay, pharmaconomy is actually the route of administration. Okay, is actually the study of the route of administration of medicine. This is pharmaconomy. You will get lots of terms in pharmacy: pharmacopraxy, okay, pharmaconomy, pharmacology, pharmacodynamics, pharmacokinetics, and lots of other these. And one of them is pharmaconomy, is the study of the route of administration of medicine. From 288 to 292, fifth edition, dealing with the route of administration of medicine. Okay, and 293 and 294 is dealing with the mesmerism. Two kind of mesmerism: negative mesmerism, positive mesmerism. Negative mesmerism is coming first. Positive is coming first. So 293 and then negative 294. So like that manner, the aphorisms have been finished up to 294. Means just remember the headings of these aphorisms. From where we have started? We have started from diet and regime. I am repeating again. From diet and regime, 259. I am talking about only 5th edition, okay? 259 to 263, okay, is diet and regime. From 264 to 271, okay, this is pharmacy part. From 272, after pharmacy, these are in chain. These have been arranged in chain. After pharmacy, what should come? Why one single medicine should be given at a time? Okay, from 272 to 274 is dealing with law of simplex. Law of simplex. From 275 to 287, 5th edition. From here, all the complexities of 5th edition and 6th edition started. So remember this. 287, 275 to 287, dealing with the doses. Why minimum doses? Okay, and 288 to 292. Okay, 5th edition is pharmaconomy. Okay, pharmaconomy. Then last two aphorism is dealing with mesmerism. So positive comes first. So 293 is positive mesmerism and 294 is negative mesmerism. What I have told you to remember these groups of aphorism, that will be giving you much that will be easier to solve MCQs in your PG entrance examination if you remember these groups, and this is for 5th edition only. Okay, now come back to 275, 6th edition. How many aphorisms are there in 6th edition? 291. You should remember the aphorisms of different editions of Organon. These are also the MCQs in your PG entrance examination. So come back to 275 of 6th edition. I am talking about now 6th edition. Okay, this 6th edition, 275, from 275. Okay, previously up to previous almost same. Okay, from 272 to 274 in 6th edition also Hahnemann is discussing the law of simplex. From 275 a bit of differences arises here in 5th and 6th edition because the last three aphorisms have been omitted in the 6th edition, so that has been adjusted here. So right, from 275 to 283, 275 to 283 is dealing with the doses. Okay, 284 and 285. Previously in the 5th edition there were 4 aphorisms, actually not 4, from what we have told, from pharmaconomy starts from 288. No, pharmaconomy in 5th edition starts from 488, yes, and up to 288, up to 292. There are 5 aphorisms for pharmaconomy in 5th edition, but in the 6th edition only 2 aphorisms are there for pharmaconomy. Only 2 aphorisms, 284 and 285. Only two aphorisms are there for pharmaconomy, 284 and 285. 284 and 285. Okay, pharmaconomy. After this, 286, 287 and 288. 286 and 287. Wait a minute. 286, 287, 288 and 289 can be divided, can be grouped as for auxiliary treatment. For auxiliary treatment from 286 to tell me, from 286 to 289. Very good. 289 can be grouped as the auxiliary treatment. In the 5th edition, Hahnemann have given as auxiliary treatment only mesmerism. Okay, only mesmerism. Sorry. Not actually. Auxiliary treatment is expanded from here to last. Okay, 291, not 288. 291 up to 291. From 286 to 291, auxiliary treatment can be divided into auxiliary treatment. Can be grouped into auxiliary treatment from 286 to 291. Auxiliary treatments. Now 286 and 287 is dealing with the electricity and magnet. 286 and 287 is dealing with the electricity and magnet. (286) and 287 dealing with electricity and magnet. We will discuss that. And 288 and 289 is dealing with the mesmerism. 288 and 289 is dealing with the mesmerism. What will come first? Positive mesmerism.
Positive, then negative.
And next will be negative. 288 and 289. Okay. Now, but here सिर्फ दो aphorism. Only two aphorisms remaining. 290 and 291. 290 is dealing with the massage, and 291 is dealing with the bath. Massage comes first and then bathing. In Bengal, there is a common practice of getting a massage done before going to bath. Okay. So remember, massage comes first, then bathing. 290 is regarding massage and 291 is bathing. Okay. So the portion we have discussed today is very fertile from point of view of your MD entrance examination, because these aphorism numbers have been asked again and again in MD entrance examination. If you can remember like this, starting from 275, 5th and 6th differently, it will be very easy for you to solve those MCQ. Okay, so this portion we have completed from point of view of MD entrance examination. Now we will start discussing one by one from next class onward. Leaving the pharmacy part, we will start from 272. Okay, from next class onward, we will skip the pharmacy part. We will discuss it at somewhere later, at somewhere, some point of time. From 272 we will start, or maybe we can finish first those last auxiliary method aphorisms and then come back to 272. Whatever we will decide in the next class. Any question you are having, you can ask.
No, sir. Nothing for now.
Okay. I hope
Thank you, sir.
these numbers of aphorisms are clear and you will be able to solve those MCQ examination based questions based on these aphorisms. Okay. Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir.